Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Zach.
Hey, everybody, this is Sawyer. Welcome to the Come On podcast. We're really glad you're joining us.
So come on and join us in the trenches.
Come on.
That was really good.
I hit your button. I'm sorry.
I always forget that you do that, or I don't notice that you do that, and so we'll be like mid podcast, and I'll be like, "Oh, did I press the button?" And I'll see this red.
That would suck halfway through.
The record button.
Just means that you just get to talk about Jesus more. So.
Dang. Ready?
Yeah. I had to. I wasn't shutting you up or anything. I was clapping because it syncs the it syncs the audio. I never understood that, but it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
If you make a loud clap, you can line everything up.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
pretty cool.
You're good.
Awesome.
What's up?
What's up?
What's up,
Yo.
Zach? This is Tyler. Tyler, I'm Sawyer.
I didn't know that.
Tyler, this is Zach.
Awesome.
No, we know Tyler from church. He's a really cool guy. We thought about bringing him on. He actually approached me one day and was like, "Man, I actually know a really awesome topic that we could talk about." And we met, and got coffee together, and we got to talking. And I was like, "Man, that is a really cool topic, and something that I think we could really, really get into and really, talk about."
Yeah.
And it's you work for talk about what you do for a living.
Well, I'm a plumber. I work for Burns Mechanical. I've been there for about 3-ish years, something like that. But I've been doing plumbing since I was about 12.
Yeah.
My grandpa had a plumbing business, so that's kind of where that one kind of came into play. So
Yeah.
I was raised up in it, always raised in some sort of trade.
Yeah.
Of some sort.
Always working with your hands and
Oh yeah. I don't think I can sit behind a desk.
oh no.
Just not all day anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe for a little bit suck in the air because it's
Yeah.
hot.
No, it's
It's
so
really
hot.
hot.
It's like I can work behind a desk for the summertime, but
Right.
no other time.
Yeah. It's I definitely have a major respect for plumbers. I try to play plumber at my new house, or at my house. We bought a house last March, and my whole life I've always rented.
Right.
I've lived in houses that were rented, or my parents paid for whatever had to be done, and so I start seeing those AC bills or those plumbing bills. I'm like, oh my, I better go to Home Depot and try to figure this out.
YouTube, baby.
Oh
YouTube.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Plumbing is definitely for a special breed.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
For sure.
sure.
Same thing with electrical work
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, shoot, yeah, especially in this heat, man. Oh my goodness,
It's crazy.
it's so
Heat
hot.
index was like 110 the other. It has been that.
Yeah,
It's hot.
it hurts.
And you can't get away from it.
Yeah,
I mean, like, all you can do is go inside somewhere, but
Sometimes even in your truck, that air ain't cooling
Oh,
down
it
quick
ain't.
enough.
I know,
It's
dude.
blowing
bad.
hotter than what it is outside.
we got to get this rolling. Come on.
yeah.
No, you bought me that umbrella that like magnets to generators, and I'll be like doing maintenances on a generator, and I have this little DeWalt fan on me, and I mean it's a big umbrella, and it'll be shaded, and dude, it's like I can't breathe. It is so hot.
I
And it's
understand the pain,
crazy,
especially
bro.
whenever you crawl up in an attic to run a water line. And,
No, sir.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah,
That's why I'm
no.
grateful for apprentices.
Yes, sir. I know about it. But you're a plumber. We're electricians, blue collar world, and I think the everybody, whenever you think of blue collar, you think of rough, rigid, very fill in the word, very rough environment. That's what I would think about.
For sure.
And obviously, you're a Christian, and same for us. And what is that like? And that's kind of the topic is, what is that like to be a Christian and work in this sort of environment? Because I mean, it's definitely not easy, and it's not, just in and of itself, like super special, compared to other lines of work. But I would say, blue collar world is a very rough and rigid world. So,
Yeah. I mean, it is at the same time. I mean, that's what the typical thought is, but I've, worked in several atmospheres. I've done plumbing, I've done electrical, I've done roofing, I've done a little bit of it all. So, I mean, I've seen a wide range of people and people that I've come in contact with. I'm obviously a people person. I don't meet a stranger.
Yeah.
Even with customers, and that's one of my favorite things is having a conversation with the customer, just lifting them up through whatever they're going through. Because typically whenever you have a plumber come over to your house, it's not really
not
good.
the most fun.
They're not concerned about you.
Exactly.
Typically,
but I am blessed, very, very, very blessed right now to work for the company that I do, because that's kind of one thing that they strive on. Like, they even have their own ministry within the company.
Wow.
It's called Burns Mechanical Ministries. Yeah. And so, like, being able to be a part of that, and like, there's once a quarter. Well, hang on, let me back up. Every other Tuesday, they have their own Bible studies. Then once a quarter, we have a giant, like, they call it a men's night, where they feed. They have a special person come in and speak. And there's 250 men underneath a little metal building roof. We do our shop. Like, we just clear it out for the night, and they do food and giveaways and all stuff. So being able to be a part of that company and be your thunder.
To pour down.
But being able to be a part of that has been a blessing in itself, because they really strive on who they bring on.
Yeah. They
don't just bring on one random person off the side of the road that says, "Oh, hey, I can do all this plumbing work," or anything like that. But it all started from the interview.
Wow.
Deal. So being able to be a part of that, and like being able to transfer that into the work field, it's been a lot easier where I'm at, but I've also been in places where it hasn't been so easy.
Yeah.
It's real easy to just get wrapped up in what's around you. I mean, because you got different beliefs, different ethnicities, and all this stuff. Like, you just got everything around you, and it's easy just to get roped in, because it's easier to stay comfortable versus staying where you need to be at.
Exactly. What do you think about that, Zach?
Yeah,
How's it been for you?
All I've ever done is electrical, but I have been one of the rough people, and I'm now on the other side of it. So, and I think, and I guess I'll just say with ZB Electric, I mean, we're different.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. It's like Burns. I hear about Burns. I never even really knew that. And then get around here or come back to West Monroe and then hear about Burns. I knew they were bigger. And then I see the sign out and the thing. So I start thinking, then I start asking some people, and they're like, "Oh, yeah." And I heard about y'all's men's ministry thing, our group ministry. And I never knew that existed. I didn't work around Christians.
Right.
Maybe, well, I'll back up. I did a few. But not very many. And so there wasn't a lot of opportunities for me to hear the gospel. Not that I would have listened. I don't know that I would have listened anyway, but just a blue collar world is, like you said, very rough and rigid. And if you're a Christian in that world, like you were saying, you hear these people talking the way they talk and doing what they do. And all of a sudden you get somewhere and maybe it's in your head or whatever, you say a cuss word and you're like, what, where did that come from? Or something just, it just feeds into you. And so you got to start learning, well, how do I block all that out, and keep myself from falling back. Yeah.
I think that we're fortunate enough to like work in a Christian environment, work where it's normal to be a Christian, where it's actually encouraged. And, but I know that there's a lot of people who, the parable of the sower and the seed, where he talks about, where you plant your seed at. There's a lot of times where you'll plant it in thorny ground, or where there's a lot of thorns, and it'll choke it out. And, one son, or guy can come to a men's retreat or something, and he can get radically saved, but he works offshore, and then, he goes back to work, and it's, same old, he just, you just get in that routine of you're around those guys, and, or just anywhere, you work at State Farm or something, and you just get back in that routine of being around those guys, and it's like, it just chokes you out. Mm-hmm. And so you just, you have to be grounded in that's where, the church really has to step in, and guys like us that really have to step in and, encourage people and get behind people, and, cause we, as far as blue collar goes, and we know what it's like, and we, like I said, we're fortunate, but we still understand like what this environment is like, the majority of it at least. And so, but yeah.
Yeah, I think we've seen this several times, but going on job sites, and people are talking the way they talk, and then they notice if they're around you just long enough, they notice like that dude he doesn't laugh at those jokes, or he doesn't talk like that, and so you'll notice they'll stop cussing as much, or whatever, doing the dirty jokes. They'll start trimming it down, and then all of a sudden they realize, well, I guess I don't do that around him. Yeah. And so that's pretty cool to see that, and you would hope, like you said, you're spreading seed.
Yeah.
And they do notice that.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Because I've even been in the work truck, like driving, especially like right after you start at a company. And you got these guys that are riding with you that don't really know you yet, and they're just being their normal self.
Yeah.
And they're trying to just talk to you, get to know you, and they're saying what they're saying, and dirty joke here, dirty joke there, or cuss word here, cuss word there. And they realize, like, man, I actually had one guy one time riding with me. I don't know, it went by about probably almost a year, and he was like, I don't think I've ever heard you say a cuss word. I was like, I'm not saying that I never thought it, but but it's real. Sometimes if you're raised like that, it's easy to stick your gun. It's easier to stick your guns, because you're sitting there thinking in your head like, I wasn't like, that ain't me. That ain't what I was raised to be. And, but being able to do that, like I've even seen a difference in some of the guys. Yeah. Like they come to me asking me questions.
Oh yeah.
That's cool. Like that's, or they'll be scrolling on Facebook. They're like, hey, have you ever heard about, Daniel and the Lion's Den or something? And I'm like, like, it's a great story.
Like, talk about it.
Yeah. And so it kind of just sparks those small conversations. Or if I come across people, they're like, why do you know? Like, how do you know so many people? And it's just like, I'm honestly a good listener. I'm a good talker too. I like to talk, but at the same time, like I hear people and I remember people and remember what they're going through and the things because you don't know what somebody's going through day to day.
Oh yeah.
Either.
Yeah.
Like although they're frustrated and making their remarks and saying what they're going to say throughout the day, that they're just, maybe something's just going on at home that they're bringing to work. So it takes us as Christians to step back and just be that listener. Like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to worry about what they're doing, but I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And if they want to talk, they can. If not, that's kind of on them. But I mean, that goes down different roads right there in itself.
I think, go ahead. You go. No,
my favorite thing is like whenever you're driving down the road or whenever you're at a house and, as like for electrical, we'll see another electrical truck or another business across the street or at the same house or driving down the road. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if y'all ever notice this. And I might just be like looking for it, but like, it's like they're mean mugging me or something, man. And dude, I just wave at them, or I'll walk over there and
it always feels like there's so much tension on a job site when someone else like in the same profession pulls up.
Dude.
You're
like, I'll walk over there and shake their hands, man.
I know, me too.
I mean, I do too, man. I say something, but you always could just feel that like tension.
Oh yeah, like
both of you are like like y'all have so many questions going through your head.
I love it, especially when we go to like supply houses or something.
Oh yeah,
and they walk in and they're just kind of like not looking at you. I'm like, man, how's your day going?
Yeah,
and
that's awesome that you brought that up.
Yeah, wow.
because this, yeah, well, and we talked about this
Yeah.
before
Oh, yeah.
the other day with professionalism, like everywhere you go. When you go into that supply house and that guy, it's a thing, bro. It's so funny because they're
Yeah.
like got their chest poked out, like I'm a better, whatever trade you're in.
Yeah.
I'm the best electrician in this supply house or something like that.
Yeah.
And you're like, and they kind of do that. They're kind of standoffish, and you just say, "Hey, man, how you doing?"
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they're
Totally
usually it changes.
Yep.
Yeah. And so that's cool you bring that up because I forgot about that point of everywhere you go, literally being a light.
Yep.
And people notice it. So.
Yep.
It just takes
That's
that one remark.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
that one hello or
Yep,
how
exactly.
you doing or
Totally
hope your day
changes.
is going all right or right now obviously the most common term is you staying cool out there. Like, and obviously
Heck
not.
Yeah.
I
You
am
know,
not.
you get a smile out of somebody,
Yeah.
A smile goes a long ways for
Or
somebody.
you ask them, "Hey, how are you doing today?" And they say, "Oh, I'm terrible," or something like that. Well,
Yeah.
then you actually
All
like,
making it.
Yeah, like,
"Hey,
oh.
well, what's going on?" Or
Yep.
something like that, dude. That's because most people are just like, "Oh man, you'll make it," or "Suck it up," whatever.
Yeah.
But actually showing care. I wanted to ask you because I know where we come from, but were you have you been a Christian? I mean, kind of just give like a high level from childhood up to.
Gotcha. I was always raised in church. Always been a part of a church from the time me and my mom moved here to West Monroe. I can't ever remember a time that I wasn't in a church. But as far as me becoming a Christian, you kind of go through that spell. I feel like maybe like late elementary, early middle school. Like
Yeah.
we're like, oh, I see my friends getting baptized. Like maybe I need to do the same
Yeah.
thing. You go to a church camp and
Oh, yeah.
that's all cool and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so I did that once or twice. But the one time that we really hit is we were at 1010
Yeah.
retreat.
Mm-hmm.
I was 19 and we were out there at Camp Chioka and it just was different.
Yeah.
That one time it was like, no, this
You got it.
now I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah.
is the feeling that they've always talked about because
Yeah.
even from them, but like I said, as far as me being a Christian and I've been involved at Christ Church since I was a senior. So that was like 2014.
Yeah.
So from then on, I volunteered here, volunteered there. I was kind of the yes man.
The gopher. Yeah.
Everybody was calling me to, hey, we got this going on. You want to do this? And of course, I was like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in doing that, you got to be careful doing that
Exactly.
itself. That's
Exactly.
it's real easy to say yes, but it's hard to say no.
Yeah.
Especially
sure.
whenever you're doing something that you really, really enjoy.
Yeah.
And all that. But that's kind of where I came from doing that. And like I said, the whole plumbing that came from family. My grandpa was a plumber and his father-in-law was carpenter, plumber, and it just kind of went from there. So it's kind of the next. I was the next in line.
Yeah.
They didn't have any sons, so
Yeah.
it was kind of like I was the next one, and like I was about midway through high school, and he's like, "Hey, you want to come make some extra money?" And I'm like, of course, high school. You're like, yes, absolutely. My own money, my own car. Like, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
And then he handed me a shovel, and I was not real happy about that. It's like, what do
Dig
I do?
trench.
Yeah, I was like, what do I do with this?
What's a sharpshooter?
Yeah, he had to teach me how to use a shovel, so that was
That's
fun.
whenever you play dumb and like I can't figure it out. I don't know how this thing works.
I didn't have a choice. It was my grandpa.
Yeah,
That's so
right,
funny. Oh my
Especially
gosh.
going under houses and everything. He really
No,
liked
sir.
He really liked to send me up under there.
Yeah.
I'm like, I ain't never fixed that before. He's like, well, you're gonna figure it
You'll
out.
find out.
So, but I've always had a real good growing up. Never, I've always had good support system behind me, and I always was led down the right track. Not saying I didn't make dumb decisions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Growing up, but it definitely was. It's been a process. Like I said, I'm real blessed to be where I'm at from what I was raised in.
Yeah.
Like my whole childhood, it was.
Yeah.
They always preached it. And they're like, okay, yeah, you're gonna get it one day.
Yeah.
You're gonna get it one day.
Yeah.
And that's definitely not the norm in, I keep saying blue collar world, but like, the world that we work in. And, you mostly see very rough upbringings, like these guys
yeah.
were like, if your grandfather and your dad, and then you have been, in that world, it's usually not a good situation, not every time at least.
And honestly, I tried to get out of
Yeah.
the blue collar world. It's kind of one of those things, whenever you're working for family, it's one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because it's hard to shut off work from your relationships. And it got to a certain point, and he was having some surgeries and different things like that. They asked me if I wanted to take over the business, and I was like 22 at that time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not ready for that.
Wow.
I don't want that. Like, I've already seen what's happened now, and like where our relationships at now. And not saying that I had a bad relationship with them. It just put a lot of tension on family life. And I just finally said, like, look, my relationship with y'all is way more important than me taking over a business. So then I went to college for a short little bit, got a 2-year degree, and then COVID hit. And what I went to school for didn't map out. So they were just like, and then finally I looked at my wife. At the time, she was my girlfriend, but we were serious and stuff. And I was like, all right, if I can go get my plumbing license without having to go to a 5-year apprenticeship school, I'll do that. And it's just kind of crazy to see what, like, God can take a situation where you think, like, oh, I'm going to go figure this out on my own. Forget this. Forget the shovel. Like, I'm going to go sit in AC all day.
Yeah.
And all that. But seeing where I feel like sometimes, though, like, you're called to be an electrician, or you're called to be a plumber. Like, to me, I don't feel like you necessarily just choose those.
Oh yeah.
Those things, like, those opportunities come up and they kind of slap you in the face.
For sure.
And like seeing like where I'm at now and the like relationships that I've built from the years of me just being me, and like it's crazy how much of a track record you can leave behind just by your everyday, how you act every day and how you talk to people every day.
Yeah.
So it's really neat to see that.
Oh yeah. Man.
I think that's kind of what I say, like, about electrical. Like, we're electricians, but it's like almost just an excuse to get over there and talk to you. Like, it's so cool that how you can, and you don't have to be like, you don't have to go in their house with a Bible and slap them in the head. You just be a Christian. Like, what I mean is just be caring and kind and loving, and when they, maybe we have to deal with this a lot. When people are aggravated, it looks like they're aggravated at you. They're just aggravated about the situation. Right. So treating them, with compassion, empathy.
Yeah.
They notice that.
Yeah. And, whenever you sit there and, the Great Commission, Jesus said, all authority on heaven and earth has been given to me, therefore go and share the gospel. Sharing the gospel isn't necessarily, like you said, isn't like you're not bringing your Bible in there to the customer's house and say, oh, before I do this estimate, let me read the scripture. Like, are you a Christian? Let's
get the facts.
Yeah, like, hold on. Like, I cannot do this estimate until you've been baptized.
It's like, let me talk to my wife. Well, in the Bible, it says that a woman submits to the husband. We won't read the next verse.
we'll just keep it right there.
Yeah. But literally, like, I cannot tell you how many times I've had short interactions with people, and it's nothing to do with me. Like, I have the Spirit in me, and He produces these things through me. Mm-hmm. And so, I'm sensitive to the Spirit, or I try to be sensitive to the Spirit, and I allow Him to work through me. And I just live my life. Like, I'm just talking to people, and I'm just, I'm not cussing. I try to, find joy in everything that I do. I try to be patient, peaceful, all the fruits of the Spirit. And I cannot tell you how many people have like told me, like, when I was working at ZB, or while I'm working at ZB, and whenever I was working at Terminix when I was a salesman. I cannot tell you how many people were like, are you a Christian? Like, have asked me that. And I'm just like, well, yes. And they're just like, man, it is written all over you. And that's nothing to do with me. And just like with that dude saying like, you don't cut, like people just, they notice that. And,
And I get what you're saying. You're not doing it on purpose to
like try to prove a point.
Yeah,
or anything.
yeah.
Like, you're not trying to hold up a sign on your chest saying like,
Yeah.
I'm a Christian. Like, don't say this, don't do that. You know, there's not a checklist on your back. You know, for people to be able to approach you and talk to you.
Yeah.
Or anything. It's just kind of going back to what they've I've said it, or I haven't said it, but people have said it 100 times, and it just always sticks, and it always kind of like hits really home. It's you want to be a thermostat, not the thermometer.
Oh yeah,
like
I love that.
Like anytime I hear that, it's just like, dang, like it's always like a check. Like, how have I been this week? Like, what's my attitude been like? Because I mean, I know sometimes it's, especially like whenever you get to work and you look at the board and you're like, oh, I'm going to that job site again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you immediately get a bad attitude about it, but
exactly.
But sometimes you don't know what you're going to get into as soon as you get inside the truck.
Yep.
The next stop, like your attitude's going to, I feel like how you start your day is how you're going to end your day most of the time.
Yeah.
And if you're getting up, with this attitude of like, here we go again.
And everybody else can have that attitude, and you cannot, and it could change. You can change theirs.
Yeah.
Right. And so just coming in and really setting the tone in the mornings of having a good spirit and having, like I said, I'm not perfect. I don't do it every day, obviously.
Yeah. Right.
But it's some that drive to work, that 15 minutes from my house to the shop is like my checklist. Like I'm going off in my head, like, okay, like, how do I feel today? I know I don't feel like working, but I got to make money. So like, let's make the most of it. Like, who am I going to be working with today? That kind of stuff. It's, and it kind of goes from there, but
and one of my favorite verses for this, or it's Matthew 5:14 through 16. It's the Sermon on the Mount, but this is, you are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. And, a big thing is whenever you're going to a job site that like, okay, the heat index today is going to be 110 degrees. And I'm going to be in the middle of nowhere, sweating my booty off. Like, and I'm, and and we all have this where it's like, it's just going to be a hard job, no matter who you're with, like it's going to be a hard job. And Tyler or Sawyer or Zach really wants to be like, screw this stinking day. Like,
calling in sick.
Yeah, this is for the birds. I do not want to be doing this. But you're supposed to be set apart. Like, Paul, whenever he was in the prison, it actually says that he wasn't in the prison. He was in like the sewage of the prison. And he was chained, and it said that they started worshiping God. Like, they started singing worship songs. And I don't think in that moment that he was like actually joyful. I don't think that he was actually enjoying himself in that moment. I think he had to manifest, like say out loud, start worshiping God. And then that, turned into what it turned into. And I think a big part of our job is, okay, today's going to suck. I know it's going to suck. The guy I'm with knows it's going to suck. But I'm going to choose to have joy. I'm going to choose to radiate joy regardless of my situation, regardless of what's happening. And man, that is huge, and that doesn't mean like start correcting people when they start complaining or, but when they are complaining, you're sitting there saying, well, like add to it or something, or just, spread joy. And that to me, like I've worked with people you know, we have a guy that we work with. His name is Brian. I can't tell you how many times I've been like complaining at a job, or just like I was in an attic or whatever, and I just like I'm complaining and I have a bad attitude, and he's just like, it's really not that bad, honestly. And I'm like, oh, okay, you're right.
Right. Whenever,
you know?
yeah, I've experienced that too.
Yeah.
And you're just like, really? Like,
Yeah.
come on, man.
Yeah.
Give me a little slack. Like, it's
Exactly.
hot, man.
And I think, like, you know, the one way you change your attitude about it is, because like I said, just using the attic as an example, it can be terrible.
Yep.
Insulation, all the things, crawling, and just all the stuff that's not just counting the heat, but it's just like changing your attitude about, use a big word, paradigm, changing your paradigm of, well, at least I'm able to work.
Yep.
Right.
And, you know, you're going to have those thoughts of like, it sucks and all that, but trying to just change that around, like, man, at least I used to work on cranes and it'd be way hotter than in an attic. It'd be, I remember one time we did the heat index and it was right around 200. It was insane on this
Oh
crane.
my gosh.
And I literally felt like I was in an oven. We had a 24-inch air duct coming from an air conditioner. And unless you were in that air duct, I got a picture of me on my phone in the air duct, and my legs felt like they were on fire.
Oh.
And I'd get out of it, and I'd go back to work. And
200 degrees.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Oh my gosh.
But and people were complaining, which I might be
Rightfully
crazy.
so.
Yeah, I might be crazy, but I was like, dude, you kidding me? They're paying us to be in a sauna right now. You know how? And I wasn't even. And what's crazy, I wasn't even
I made that remark.
Christian.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm like,
People pay good money
Yeah.
to sit in this stuff. Like,
yep.
That's awesome.
So just changing, you know, your mindset, and then what you're wanting to change your own attitude, but hoping that it rubs
Right.
off on others. Too.
Yeah.
Or like you said, if somebody else is in the way, you don't want to be like, you know,
Right.
nagging them, but just
Yeah.
little comments and stuff.
Yeah.
at the same time, I feel like so far we've talked a lot about like getting through the day,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's how we just get out of bed. Like, what are we doing through the morning
Yeah.
to get
Prepare.
ready for the day?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are we just rolling out of bed, throwing on our clothes, grabbing the cup of coffee, and jumping in the truck? Because
Yep.
I mean, sometimes that snooze button's pretty nice.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I just really feel like, taking that time, even while you're just walking around the house, you ain't got to be sitting there walking through your house praying out loud the entire time, or blaring worship music the whole time, or
Yeah.
I mean, obviously reading your Bible every day is a big thing,
Right.
but sometimes it's okay that you don't. Like, I mean, I might be completely wrong by saying that, but sometimes, as long as you're still making that communication with God,
Oh yeah.
sometimes it's hard to leave your house in a bad mood
Mm-hmm.
if
Yeah.
you start your day
Yeah.
right.
I agree.
I mean, because that us going through the day, that also turned around to bringing it right back home.
Yeah.
Like, and then our spouses, and I don't have kids, but I know you have
Yeah.
kids, and sometimes they get the blunt end of it.
But yeah.
And just because you've had a rough day, you're aggravated, you're hot, you're sweaty, but they still want you to play with them.
Yeah.
as soon
They
as you
don't know
walk inside
anything
the door.
about any of it.
And so, like, really paying attention to your habits
Mm-hmm.
at home
Yeah.
versus bringing them to work, because it's easy to bring all your drama to work if you're going through family stuff and all that. It's easy to get real sidetracked and take it out on somebody else at work. And that just relates to a whole nother thing. And maybe that's your first contact with that person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they have that image of you like, oh man, he gets mad at every little bitty thing that he
He's
does.
grumpy.
Yeah. Like,
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that from not reading, like getting in seasons of not waking up and reading and just waking up and going straight to work. When you get up and you read the study of the Bible, I should say, and you get something out of it, I don't know, I can't explain that. It just gives you like a just some type of energy. I don't
Yeah.
know, and it just changes your day, like you said.
I
And
know what you mean.
that is a very good point to how are you waking up and starting your day. And we've talked about that. I'm sure you've heard this.
Oh, yeah.
I forget who it was, a little Navy SEAL guy, and he's like, just wake up, get out of bed, and as soon as you get out of bed, just go ahead and make it real quick.
Yep.
And he's like, that's your first win of the day. Like, you've actually won.
You gotta,
Makes
yeah,
you
that's
feel
like,
good.
isn't it like a 5, like getting in a 5-step, like habits every morning? Like, and if you can master that, you're going to be gravy. Like, I mean, it's going to be hard to really kind of defeat your day.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
there's going to be things that come up, obviously, that get you aggravated, but then you're going to snap right back out of it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I find myself, if I don't start the day somewhat like that, it's a long day.
Yeah.
It's a very, very long day.
Yeah.
And it's real easy to come home and just kind of shut off and not be in communication with my wife, which that opens up a whole nother door.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because you want to just walk in, just sit down. You don't want to clean nothing. You don't want to mess with the dog. You don't want to mess with, you know, like, I understand you had a kind of a rough day too, but sometimes you don't want to listen.
Yeah.
But, you know, and that's never a good thing.
Yeah. Early on.
Oh, I was just going to say that sets your next day up for
Right.
a failure too.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Yeah. It just kind of snowballs after that. Early on in my marriage, it was, you know, she has an office job. She's an office manager, my wife, Kirsten. And, you know, there were a lot of times where she would be like, she would call me at like lunch or something and be, you know, not necessarily like complaining, but talking about how hard her day is. And like to her, it genuinely would be like a hard day. But to me, you know, I'm sitting here making a puddle in an attic because it's so hot. And, you know, I'm like, it would like make me almost not resent her, but like kind of shoot down what she thought was a bad day and kind of almost correct her in a way. And man, that's not good at all. That's horrible. And it made me have this like negative spirit or this negative spirit towards her. And I resented her almost. And like that was such a bad thing. And like, you know, like you're saying, you know, like heat'll get you pretty aggravated during the day. You know, we work in the sun, we work with our hands, you know, we're cramping up. We come home, we're tired. We don't want to wake up in the morning. We just, all we want to do when we get home is sit down and eat food, watch TV, and then go to bed. Do not talk to me about how hard your day was. And man, don't be like that. That is awful. You know,
But it's super easy to get into that.
Oh yeah.
It's super easy.
Oh
and
yeah.
it's, you know, because sometimes our brains, just to take that extra effort, doesn't want to take that extra effort.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like,
we can
talk tomorrow.
Yeah.
As a
Like,
Christian, you can stick your chest out and be like, well, you know, you see how hard I'm working? You know, do you see how much I'm doing to support us or whatever? And, you know, you can kind of ride that out, and then, you know, 5 months down the road, your marriage sucks, you know,
Right.
and, you know, you've drifted away from God.
And I found myself here recently. So me and Paige, we just bought a house back in November.
Nice.
And, you know, we're sitting at, we'll be married 2 years in December.
Nice, that's awesome.
And, but like sometimes those days that I'm just like, really like, I don't feel like talking anymore. I don't feel like I'm driving home thinking this, like, how am I going to get out of a conversation? Like, I just want to take a shower. Like, especially this time of year, do y'all take ice cold showers?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I'm not the only one. Well, you're weird.
I cannot.
So-
I have to have a hot shower.
but no. But anyway, I just want to take a shower. I
Yeah.
want to eat. Like, maybe later we can talk.
Yeah.
And all that. But then as soon as I turn down my road into our subdivision, I'm like looking at all these houses and I'm like, dang, I'm blessed to be here.
Yeah.
Like, and then you walk inside your house, your space,
Mm-hmm.
and then nothing's better than like you get home before your wife and then she comes in just smiling because she's happy to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like, dang, okay, God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see where I'm at now. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you opening up the doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me to get the job that I have, to be able to afford something like this.
Yep.
And then, you know, that kind of attitude of like, I don't feel like talking anymore. It's like, you know, honestly, your wife's telling you like, can you give me a minute? Like,
Yeah.
like just
Yeah.
let me breathe.
Yeah. No, I get like that all the time, but it's super convicting because, man, that like whenever you look at, you know, your relationship with her in a biblical context, like she comes before work.
Right.
And so, you have to save energy and time for her, you know, regardless of it. And same for your, you know, your kids and your wife.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't need to be like just a little bit, you know, like there actually needs to be intentional time and effort spent on her and y'all's relationship, because if you don't, you know, intentionally seek that time with her and them, then that's just going to fall by the wayside, and you're going to end up drifting, and then that relationship is going to go to trash, and that's not what God had intended for it.
No. And it can happen quick.
Oh yeah, very quick.
I just pulled up, I literally Googled stats on blue collar Christians, so who knows if this is true or not, but
Uh-oh.
I did the same thing last night. I got some numbers in my notebook.
There
over
you
here.
go.
yeah,
There you go.
you want to do them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm kind of with you. I don't know exactly
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
accurate it is, but
From my experience in life, what the numbers there is pretty close.
like this is just when the U.S. workforce is what it was saying.
You're the first person to write notes. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, you know,
We need better. We need better guests.
don't say that.
Y'all need to be like Tyler.
No. No, there's a lot of things that's wrong with Tyler. But no, like what it boiled down to is like roughly in the U.S. there's roughly about 4 million blue collar, and that ranges from anything like manual labor
Yeah.
style, light work, welding, carpentry, everything like that. But as far as like on a Christian standpoint of it, there is only about 28%
Wow.
of that is actually Christian.
And
Which
that's who claims to be Christian.
I was about to say that's probably
that's
that number's
roughly
probably a lot lower.
That's roughly about 8 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
8 million people, like that's out of 30 million that are actually Christians, and that leaves roughly about 72% of the rest of it that's we don't know.
Yeah.
And you know, and we don't know where people come from, you know, their thought processes or what they believe in and what their stuff is. And it's easy to just stay in your lane at work. Like you just show up to a job site and just do what you need to do and get the heck out.
Yep.
Sometimes, but sometimes it's, you know, because you see somebody walk by, like just talking to them and like being okay with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to it's easy to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy to be comfortable. It's easy to just stick to like what's around you and adapt to what's around you instead of like what we said earlier, just kind of changing the perspective of you setting a tone.
That's
and doing it that way. Yeah. But whenever I read that last night, I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like that's not even out of the whole world, obviously.
Right.
There's, you know, and there's so much more out there. There's so many other job fields out there. That's just the workforce. I would be curious to know, like, outside of everybody that had a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what that total would be.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously it would be still substantially lower. Like I don't feel like it would reach up to like a 50%, you know.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah.
But reading that really was eye opening because I was just kind of like, wow, like this is where it really matters.
Yep.
So that's roughly, if you have 4 people in a room, one of those one of those might be a Christian
Yep.
out of the 4, and then you get 400, 10 of them. If I did my math, or 40 of them, that'd be 25. Oh my God, am I doing math on here?
Wow. You're so smart.
25% would be 100 of them.
Yeah.
Sorry. But I'm just saying, like, so when you get in a group of people like we do on job sites, and there's not, most likely either none or very little are going to be Christian. And so when you're acting like we're talking about, when you're acting, or when your actions are different, they notice that. And like the verse you said, that's actually on every one of our invoices, Matthew. And just spreading light, man. You're not, and you're saying being comfortable. It's very easy to be comfortable and not say stuff to somebody when you feel led to do that, or not saying like, "Hey, man, you shouldn't say that about him," or maybe somebody's bullying somebody or whatever.
Yep.
It's very uncomfortable to do that stuff, and so, but we're called to be different and step up.
That's right. A big thing, in my eyes, whenever I'm working, at least, and I think it's probably the same for you too, but my work, I try to have a lot of integrity at work, and I want people to notice, like, hey, and I think a big thing for electricians is they don't clean up after themselves.
That's very true.
I've heard if you want,
I've cleaned up many of those electricians.
I've heard if you want if you don't want something to be touched by an electrician, you just lean a broom up next to it or something.
Oh yeah. Works every
They'll
time.
stay away from it. And I think we really try to be different. Whenever we make a mess in someone's house, like, we're going to clean it up. And we want to make sure that the work that we do, like, I'm going to have to answer to that one day, And I know, like, in the moment, you're in the attic, you do not want to put that cover on that junction box because you've been in there and it is 150 degrees in this attic, and you are hot and you are tired and you are thirsty and you're ready to go down, and it's the end of the day and you've got this junction box made up, or, whatever. You do not want to do that thing. And man, I cannot tell you how many times the Holy Spirit has turned me around in an attic and told, like, said,
conviction.
Go get that cover and go put it up there.
Well, the scripture, it's Colossians 3:23. It says, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord."
Yeah.
That ties back into, really taking pride in your work.
Yep.
Because even where we're at, like, we're taught to take pride in everything that you're doing, because somebody else is going to end up coming behind you and seeing it, and obviously they're going to know who worked on it.
Yep.
Because now, everything's not a paper trail; it's all electronic, so they know who did it. Yeah.
Yep.
And, like, just that alone, even the customers see it after you leave. Like, some customers, there's certain ones that are going to go back behind you after you leave.
They may not
check
exactly know what they're looking
it.
at,
but
they're
they know
just looking
some's
for cleanliness.
Something's not right.
And
so that's a huge thing that I really take pride in.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm working out in the field, is I don't want to take the shortcut as easy as it would be. And that's even, in our day-to-day walks, you can't take a shortcut.
Yeah.
You can't avoid the hard stuff to get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to go through something to get to something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's really huge. And, people, and it's not necessarily just from like a, cause there's a lot of times where I'm like, they're going to like ZB Electric because of, how clean I am or how professional I act, or, being respectful, and that's not bad. I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, we want to grow our business. We want to do a good job. We want to do good work. But I think all of us collectively really want we really want people to know, like, hey, we do this because, we are different. We follow Jesus, and we want to represent him well. We want to represent his kingdom and radiate Jesus anywhere we go. And I don't think Jesus would take shortcuts. I don't think that he would not clean up after himself at a job site. And I think that speaks volumes, one, for the company that you're at, and two, for the kingdom. And I think if you're at a company that, they don't really care about that kind of stuff, or, everybody around you is not really cleaning up, but like you take pride in your work.
Yep.
You be set apart, and you radiate Jesus and do what Jesus would do, regardless of what they're doing. And even go clean up after them,
Yeah. I know whenever I texted y'all at first, like getting into this, because I've never done a podcast before. So I was like, what's the initial topic? Like, is there a direction that we're going to go? And whenever all y'all texted me was blue collar Christians, I was like, well,
heck yeah,
that helps.
Yeah.
But, the first thing that honestly, like, I started thinking immediately after that, I was just thinking about Jesus and the disciples. Like, I mean, that was, no pun intended, but I mean, it was a company in itself.
Yeah.
Like they all had their particular jobs, they all had their specialties, and they were all placed in they were chose for a certain position in that. But I don't know about y'all, but I think it would be really hard to have Jesus as my boss.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was a carpenter himself.
Yeah.
He even worked with his own hands as well. So like to think about that and think of it on that aspect, the fact that they had no problem doing anything that they were asked. Like it wasn't even a question. It wasn't even a thought. They didn't argue with it. And even if they made a comment back to Jesus about it, if they weren't sure about it, Jesus just asked them another question.
Yeah.
Like to let them trust him. Like quit asking me questions. Just please, if you do what I say, like it all makes sense. It's kind of like reading an instruction manual, like whenever you're putting like toys and all that stuff together. Like, I don't know. I like to try to just look at the pictures.
Yeah.
Like, this will work. I think it'll work.
Read it.
And then you got to go back and you're like, okay, let's start off.
Get a self-tapper. Get a self-tapper with an impact, and it'll work.
It kind of looks like the picture.
But I mean, it just really checks me whenever I think about it on that aspect of it, is the fact that they had their how they were raised, and to be true fishermen, like out in the boat and all this stuff, and to leave everything that they thought was their idea of how they were going to live and how they were going to make a living, and then Jesus is like, no, you're going to come do this.
Yeah.
Like to just totally flip their mind upside down. Because I know even me back in high school trying to figure out, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? I don't know. Like, am I going to go to college? Am I going to go do this? Am I going to take over a plumbing business? Am I going to, what am I going to do? And some people are meant to run a business and some people aren't.
Yeah.
Like it's not, and I don't feel like there's really a gray area where you can halfway run a business and halfway, just be a labor hand.
Yeah.
And in doing that, it takes special people to take those positions. It takes a lot of prayer and I've been to a lot of job interviews and stuff, but whenever I got interviewed to be on my job, it was like he called it a 3-step deal. It was a phone call over the phone, and he's like, okay, yeah, you sound good. Like, let's come back and talk in person. And whenever I walked in there, you want to try to dress your best and all this. And, you walk in, try to put up a front, and he asks you, the basic questions. Can you run equipment? Can you solder? Can you do this? Can you do that? And you're like, hey, yeah, I can do all that. Okay. And then he's like, all right, well, one more question before you get out of here is, what's your morals in life? what?
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
okay. I was like, obviously God's first in my life, and then my family. And at that time, me and Paige, we weren't married yet. So I was like, well, I mean, I'm going to be marrying her. So eventually she'll kind of bump up the ladder.
Yeah.
And then I listed a couple more, like my family. And then I said that then after all that is this job. And he's like, okay. He's like, well, and like, literally, this is how the interview ended. Okay, well, we'll let you know. And I walked out of there. I was like, I just screwed
What did I
up.
just say?
Like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
But then obviously a couple of days later, they called me. They're like, we really want you to come work here.
Oh,
Like,
wow,
you're
that's
what
awesome.
we want to. But like, just take like to see things being led in that like aspect of it is the fact that they're sending people through job interviews and asking them those questions. Like,
opening that door.
Yeah, that in itself is like, as soon as that happened, I was like, I don't want to go work anywhere else. I don't even want to look at another job.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. You can't talk about it all the time. The triangle of relationship. The bottom one's trust, but him asking you that, you can train somebody to be a plumber or electrician or whatever, but you can't train somebody to be honest.
No,
have integrity or
no.
all those things. Like you said, put God first. You can't make that. You can't train. There's no training for that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can try to lead them that way, but you having that, he's like, all right, that's the guy I want. Teach him all the rest. If I have to.
Like what the saying is, you can take a horse to some water, but you can't make them drink. Type deal. Like you can talk to your blue in the face, but it's God's going to work with everybody and how God wants to work in everybody.
That's right.
You can't fix someone's issues.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Awesome.
Do you have a action item?
I kind of thought about one while we were doing this a little bit. Really, not necessarily an action, other than just thinking about like after hearing what we said, going through your week and just pay attention. Just observe, like instead of just going through the motions, like we were talking about, you can easily get caught up in just doing it every day and just go to work and then go home and I'm aggravated. Well, figure out why you're aggravated and then try to change that. So just being aware of anything that's maybe aggravating you, and also be aware of things that bring you joy and try to, jot those down or whatever you want to do, or just have them in your mind and focus on those areas and try to correct them, or if it brings you joy, obviously you want to move towards doing that more often.
That's good. Well, dude, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
I think it's really cool that what y'all are doing at Burns, and it speaks volumes that, the way that they go through hiring people and the way that they, asked you questions. And I'm sure you're not the only one that they've asked that question to. That speaks volumes for that company. It speaks volumes to how you live your life. We used to do CC Kids together, and I ran sound, and you helped me out a bunch, and I helped you out a bunch, and you taught me a lot. And being with you during that time was really neat, because I was not a Christian at that time. And going to get coffee with you and talking about this, it was really awesome. Just catching back up, and we were in a marriage small group together. And so it's really cool to see how God is using you, and how, you do not, last week we talked about being transformed, Romans 12:2, do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You truly are transformed, and you're living it out in front of people, and you are encouraging people, loving on people, and doing your job to the glory of God. And it's really awesome to see. And so
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Let me get on here. Like I said,
thank you.
Whenever I first got with Sawyer and said something about it, I was like, what did I just open up?
Well, now you're about to be super famous, so I'm kidding.
I'm just a guy.
Well, we appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Awesome. Appreciate y'all joining in. Blue Collar Christians here. We're checking out.
Love y'all.